We've come to the last way that I want to show you on how to cook and antique these plates. This is going to be an example of how to use a oven roaster or turkey roaster to simulate what happens in the dishwasher. Using a container like this will allow you to cook about 20 plates all at one time. You might want to do that if you're going to addition an image and you would like all the plates to be as similar as possible. However, in this demonstration, I'm going to produce an addition of 20 plates that are all different. To do that, I have prepared my plates by sanding and cleaning them. Then I have assembled a lot of objects that I will place between two plates. Those can be laser cut pieces of stone paper. Those hold up well in hot water. They can be just simple plexiglass ovals. They can be more complex plates like this laser cut piece. You can use found objects like corrugated cardboard, these old doilies. This is some scrap packing material that I got. I keep just about everything that I run across because I might find a use for it in my artwork. What you're going to do is take one of your objects, and we'll do this alphabet piece. You're going to place it on top of a plate, add another plate on top of that, square them up, and then use clips to hold them together. So you're going to make your entire stack of about 20 sheets, so you're going to have 10 sandwiches, and then these are going to get dropped into the turkey roaster. If you use a half a cup of Cascade and then add a quarter of a cup of TSP, that is what's going to get you to these very, very black plates. However, if you want it to be more of the golden brown tones, then you would cut that back to a tablespoon of Cascade and a half a teaspoon of TSP for each gallon of water that you put into the roaster. The shorter time that you cook these, the more golden brown they'll be. The longer you cook them, the more black they'll be. So we've really pumped up our Cascade, the TSP, and we're going to pump the time up to 30 minutes. And you'll see that these plates turn out very black. Now I'm going to stack these in the bottom of the roaster. And this is my last one. Next, I'm going to make sure that everything is covered with water. I'll add a little bit more. That's plenty. And then what ages these is Cascade and trisodium phosphate. So this is a substitute for a dishwasher. Because so many people don't have dishwashers that really work well, I came up with this method of getting the same effect. So I'm putting in about a half a cup of Cascade. And then the trisodium phosphate, I'm going to put in maybe a quarter of a cup. And then the last step is to make sure all this stays underwater. So I'm going to drop a couple of heavy weights on the top. That'll just hold it all down. All right, now we're going to turn it up on high heat. That looks good. First thing I'm going to do is remove the gears that are holding this whole stack down. And be careful because these are going to be hot. We'll just remove these one by one. Let's see what we've got. By the way, this tray is the one that came out of my dishwasher, all discolored, that gave me the idea for doing this. Wow, they got really black. Oh, that's nice. This is the template that was cut on the laser. Oh, very black. And this just had a piece of plexiglass laid on the center to make an oval. We'll go through and unwrap each of these and see what we have. Okay, this is a side that had tin foil. And that's another one of that same template. Nice subtle pattern. I like the way the edges are very, very black. Then an image can be transferred right in this area. And this had just some blue painter's tape on it to block it out. So you can see if you had a sharply hand-cut stencil on here, you would get very, very crisp lines. You might try varying the amount of trisodium phosphate and Cascade. That'll give you different colors. If you'd like to have your images have more of a rose tone, you can drop in some of these Econolite panels in with the other plates, maybe 2 or 3 of them, and there's something in the core, I believe, that leaches out and causes the staining to become this kind of nice gray mauve-y color. Now this was some corrugated cardboard that I had laid on the top. That just left some striation marks. But you can see how fast you can do these plates if you really want to get something done quickly. Watch when you're taking these apart that you don't smear the discoloration, because at this point it's wet and it will move, but once it's dry, it'll stay put. And that is the back side from this template. And that again is a laser cut template. So the 2 sides are quite different, but would be a nice diptych. This is another one where I just simply applied blue painter's tape. I just wanted to have the center area be clean. I won't bother to take that off. On the back side, I had placed this piece of stone paper that I used in the laser, and I cut some alphabet letters out of it and then sandwiched that between the 2 plates. It's kind of interesting because just part of the letters transferred, so it really creates a bit of an abstract pattern. This one in the center, I believe I placed a doily, and that made a really interesting edging around here. This would be lovely with a portrait transferred because there's kind of a uniformity along the edges. So this can be used again. And the bottom, again, the one that faces up, always has a stronger pattern. And the back side had the aluminum foil touching it. These are hot. Okay, that was the side with the tin foil touching it. And this is another one with that spaghetti-like packing material. It really makes interesting patterns. And then the bottom sheet had a corrugated piece that was kind of wiggly corrugation. So that's interesting too. Okay, this is another one with a plastic template that had been cut on the laser. And it leaves a shaped pattern. I like the way that I'll have these matching edges on all four sides. And then this will be polished out and the image transferred there. And then this is the sanded sheet that had the same image or the same template touching it. And then the back side had this cutout that was done with stone paper, was cut on the laser, and this cutout was touching this side. So we have a very white, kind of a stencil-like image on there, and a similar pattern on this side. Oh, I'm curious how this turns out. I put a doll's dress between two sheets, thinking maybe I could get an impression. Let's see if it worked. Well, there's the dress. Ha! Yes, it worked. Look at that. And let's see what happens when we pick the dress up here. Yep, that works. So the doll's dress is a fun little way to make a pattern on the plate. And that is the end of unloading the turkey roaster to create about 16 or 20 plates all at one time within a half an hour. Vary the amount of trisodium phosphate or Cascade to change the color of the patina that occurs on the plates. You might want to try just the Cascade, or you might want to try just the trisodium phosphate. Every variation that you do will produce a different batch of plates. In the Bosch dishwasher, the Cascade with the trisodium phosphate produces the brown rainbow toned images. Every batch does turn out different. That's the beauty of this process. You're going to be able to create one-of-a-kind pieces of artwork that you could not be producing if you did not produce these plates first. The next step is to take all these plates in this box of water over to a sink, add a little bit of vinegar to the box, give everything a good rinse, and then stand them up to dry.